So nothing is at it again, shaking up the phone market, and this time they've dropped two new contenders, the Phone 4a and the Phone 4a Pro. They both look great, they have that classic nothing style, but they're definitely aimed at different people. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what separates them to help you figure out which one is right for you.
When you really get down to it, it all boils down to one simple question. We've got two new phones, but is that Pro model really, truly worth the extra cash? That's what this is all about, and I promise, by the end of this, you're going to have your answer.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll talk about this new A-Team and where it fits in the market. Then we're jumping right into the price, because let's be honest, that's where most of us start. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff. Design, display, the big camera showdown, and what's going on under the hood with performance. And finally, we'll wrap it all up to help you pick your perfect nothing phone.
Right, so let's set the stage a little. Nothing has done a really good job of carving out its own space with this unique design-first approach. And with this new A series, they are taking the fight directly to the big guys. We're talking Google's Pixel A series, Samsung's Galaxy A phones, right in that super crowded mid-range battlefield.
All right, let's get straight to the point. The thing that matters most to a lot of us, the price. Seriously, before we talk about megapixels and refresh rates, the numbers on the price tag are the first big decision you have to make.
And here is your starting point. The regular Nothing Phone 4a is coming in hot at just £349. I mean, that is a seriously aggressive price, and it immediately sets this phone up as the high-value, budget-friendly choice.
Now, the Pro model? That starts at £499. So right out of the gate, we're looking at a £150 difference. And that's the premium we need to justify. Is what you get for that extra cash worth it? Let's find out. Okay, so this table just lays it all out for us. You can see the base phone, 4a, kicks off at £349 for 128 gigs of storage, and you can double that for just 50 quid more. The Pro starts at that $499 mark and goes up to $549, so that $1,500 price gap pretty much stays the same no matter which configuration you look at. Let's move on to how these things actually look and feel. A huge part of what you're paying for is the device itself. The materials in your hand, the screen you're going to be staring at for hours every single day. These things matter.
So here's where that extra money starts to show up in a big way. The standard 4a has a plastic frame, which is fine, but the Pro gets a gorgeous premium aluminum unibody. The durability gets a huge upgrade too, going from IP64, which is basically splash-proof, to full-on IP68 water and dust resistance on the Pro. You can dunk that one. And finally, the iconic lights are different. The 4a has a simpler glyph bar, while the Pro gets that more complex, decaled glyph matrix we've seen on the flagship models.
This quote from a fan in the Nothing community just nails the whole debate. A lot of people feel the standard 4a is the absolute peak of Nothing's cool, transparent design language. But the Pro, well, it ditches a lot of that for a more mainstream, premium metal look. It's solid, for sure, but it has fans divided. Do you want that iconic, see-through Nothing vibe, or do you want a more conventional, heavy-in-the-hand, premium feel?
The screen is another major upgrade path. Yeah, the Pro's is a tiny bit larger, but that's not the story. The real differences are the refresh rate and the brightness. Going from 120 Hz to 144 Hz on the Pro just means everything from scrolling through social media to gaming is going to feel buttery smooth. And that jump in brightness, from 4500 to a massive 5000 nits, that's the difference between squinting to see your screen at the beach and actually being able to use it in bright sunlight. It's a huge quality of life improvement.
Okay, let's talk about one of the biggest differences between these two phones, the cameras. This is usually where mid-range phones cut corners, and it's definitely where Nothing decided to put a lot of daylight between the standard model and the Pro. So, is the camera system where you should put your money?
Whoa, okay, the differences here are they're not subtle. The ultra-wide camera goes from a pretty basic 8 megapixels on the 4a to a massive 50 megapixels on the Pro. That means way more detail in your wide shots. And then you have the zoom. The standard model hits a crazy 70x digital zoom, which is already impressive, but the Pro doubles that to an absolutely wild 140x.
Now, you might be wondering, how do they get that crazy zoom without a giant clunky lens sticking out of the back? Well, it's this really clever bit of tech called a tetraprism periscope. It basically uses a system of mirrors to fold a long lens sideways inside the phone's body. The result is a really high-quality 3.5x optical zoom with no light loss. And the best part? Both phones have it, which is fantastic at this price. But wait, there's more for the Pro. On top of the better ultra-wide and zoom, it also has a few more tricks. It's got a larger main sensor, which basically just means it can gobble up more light, and that's the secret to getting cleaner, better-looking photos when it's dark. And for all you video people out there, the Pro supports fancier formats like 4K Ultra XDR with Dolby Vision. Your videos are just going to look richer and more vibrant.
All right, let's peek under the hood. We've talked looks, we've talked cameras, but how does it actually feel to use these phones day to day? That comes down to the processor, and of course, the big one. How long does the battery last?
Now this is where it gets really interesting. The Pro gets the more powerful Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 chip, and it's about 30% faster than the 7S Gen 4 in the regular model. So if you're a heavy gamer or you do a lot of multitasking, you will feel that difference. But, and this is a huge but, the battery and charging are exactly the same. Both have a big 5080 mAh battery, both have fast 50-watt wired charging, and neither one has wireless charging. So on battery life, it's a dead heat.
Okay, we've gone through the price, the build, the screen, the cameras, and the engine inside. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's make the final call. Which one of these phones was made for you?
All right, you should grab the standard phone 4A if you're what we're calling a savvy saver. This is for you if you love that unique, transparent, nothing design that doesn't look like every other phone out there. You want a fantastic all-around phone with a great screen and a surprisingly capable camera, including that cool periscope zoom, but you want it all for that amazing $349 starting price. For pure value, this is a no-brainer. It's fantastic.
But you should absolutely spend that extra £150 and upgrade to the Pro if you're a power user. This is for you if the feel of a premium metal and glass phone really matters. You want that extra silky smooth 144Hz display and the brighter screen for using outdoors. And most importantly, you want the absolute best, most flexible camera system you can get, with that much better ultra-wide, the insane zoom, and the superior low-light shots.
And that brings us to a final thought. By creating these two very clear paths, one that's all about incredible value and iconic design, and another that's about packing in premium features, has Nothing finally cracked the code for the mid-range market? It really feels like they've built a killer argument for both types of users.